going to destroy America, how would he do it? You ask ChatGPT. It gave 7 bullet points: vision conflict, erosion of trust, corruption of leadership, weakening moral and ethical standards, promoting misinformation, economic instability, 7, environmental neglect.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that's good that we have this list. So in case we do start seeing any of these signs in the future, we checked all the boxes, right?
Yeah. Like number 2, erosion of trust, destroying trust in institutions, government, media, science, education, so that people don't know what or whom to believe, leading to confusion and chaos.
I don't know what to believe about anything.
That's kind of the point.
That would make this podcast an agent of evil.
Oh gosh.
They do talk about conspiracy theories. Number 5, spreading false information, conspiracy theories, and misleading narratives to manipulate people and distort reality, weakening rational discourse and informed decision making.
Should we just believe the government?
Yes, henceforth, no more conspiracy
You
theories.
trust AI from here out.
We're just going to speak positively of everything that's coming out of these major media sources.
Yes.
That's Ninjas Are Butterflies. It's a great channel. You should check them out.
What is it called?
Ninjas Are Butterflies. Actually, that's what like the podcast is called. Ninjas Are Butterflies, but the name of the channel is Sunday Cool. Like Sunday School, but Sunday Cool.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Sunday Cool.
They do like so much research into crazy stuff, which something that I thought that was, funny. But it's really interesting. If you want to find stuff on like crazy conspiracy theories, and no, that's not true. Crazy conspiracies, not theories. Because this is the United States, right? And it is bad. So many things are bad. But it was set up a certain way, by our founding fathers. And it's supposed to work a certain way. We have friends that always say, "Oh, this is how it is," and "Oh, they can't do that to you." And I'm always like, "Yeah, but they do." So they can't. They're like, "Oh, no."
The peanut happened. Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, you're talking about the way things should be versus how they are." Because I've got such arguments with my friend Sully from Consent of the Governed, because they charge me $300 if I don't mow my lawn, right? And if the grass gets too high. But my neighbor and other people have grass 3 or 4 times as high. Nothing. But it's because the dude across the street from me is a city worker, and we have issues. So it's weaponized. It's the government being weaponized. And so we always have to keep it mowed, or else it's $300 fine. And then I go to jail. If you don't go pay $300 fine, then you could go to jail for not paying a fine. Because you can't, but you can't say, "Oh, you can't go to jail for not mowing your lawn," but technically you could. So I was talking about it. He's like, "Oh, they can't do that." I'm like, "Yeah, they can. It's city ordinance." The dude says, it's just, you got to go to court and fight it. I said, and I have went to court, and I've literally showed, like, here's my neighbor, sales grass twice high. Here's a guy across the street, sales grass twice as high. Here's a guy 3 doors down, 3 times as high. But I got a ticket. And the judge is like, "Why?" And the dude's like, "Well, we didn't get complaints on them." I was like, "I bet you it was my neighbor's friend across the street that gave the complaint." He's like, "Who was it that gave the complaint?" The guy's like, "You know what? We'll withdraw this. It's fine." But they still do it. But so one of the best places you can go to find out like crazy conspiracies the CIA did is to CIA.gov. You literally, because they have to put it out, and then they have to hide it in plain sight, so they do. So you can go find crazy stuff, and it's the actual forms. Hey everybody. Hey Jim. Good to see everybody here. Remember to hit the like button. So, did you cover everything you wanted to on your channel? The first half of our show?
One thing, and it's kind of crazy, but did you see Elon tweet and confirm Q?
No.
He tweeted a Pepe frog and a Q, instead of CNN, it said QNN, and it was like friends. You know how they misspell friends and whatever?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, can we have anything weirder happen. And I don't know if it was on the 17th. It might have been on November 17th, but it was like in your face.
You know, the more I look into Elon, the more I have changing feelings about him. I think he's a useful person now. I think he's useful for free speech and all that. But, you know, long term, I don't know. If you look into it, look into his past, his mother, if you watch the interview with his nanny, that's a freaky one too. But speaking of freaky stuff, so you've looked into Trump a lot. You're always Trumper. I was just thinking of all the weird things throughout history that his family's been connected to. You know, and I found out about this other one, but like, you know, Tesla died. It was his uncle that went in and cleared out his apartment, and you know, then there's the whole story about it. There was like 12 boxes. He only turned in 10 boxes. Blah blah blah. Baron, the book, all that stuff.
All the things, yes.
Is a prophecy of Scotland and the Highlander. Well, it's not really the Highlander, but the Clan MacLeod. And everyone talks about his dad, but no one talks about his mom, who is Scottish, and she is of the Clan MacLeod. And there is this prophecy in Scotland of John MacLeod, that he will go to a great nation, be the ruler of a great nation across the sea, and then will return to Scotland and restore Scotland to its glory and blah, blah, blah. But this is, but his middle name is John.
Did you see the new coin for the mint? It has an eagle and a lion.
And the lion is
probably the Scotland. Like, you know, forever it's been the eagle.
Yeah. The dragon is Britain. Okay, that's right. I thought.
Anyway.
Okay. So a lot of stuff, and then I was found out this thing. The CIA thing was weird. So you know about Project Stargate?
I mean, I've heard of a Stargate. I don't know about like the Project Stargate, if there's a current one. I did hear about a family that just built their own Stargate.
Well, so Project Stargate is what's considered remote viewing.
Oh, yes, I know about remote viewing.
Okay. So it's the CIA, it's all on their website. They built these, if I had extra money, I'm going to do it.
I have friends that do it.
They didn't build the aluminum structure to go into. It's like a Faraday cage, but that's whatever that swizzle thing is in the universe. It's in that. You sit in the middle of it. It's really weird, messes with your head. But if you can get through like the pain and nausea for like the first couple minutes, then you're in control. Anyway, CIA did all this. It's all documented stuff. But it works about some people 35, some people like 75% of the time. They could spy on people. They've been able to do drugs.
There's a movie about it, that Men Who Stare at Goats or whatever. There's a movie about it. Yeah, it's the real military thing. And I
own the movie, but
I killed the goat doing it, and that's why the movie's called that. But it's the real military op that.
Well, this is, and it's weird to read. It's weird to read. It's weird to read this because it's the way it's written is it's written in CIA documentation, so it's like military. So it was this guy's. It was a training thing, and they brought him in. They're like, "Here is your target, and we want you to find out where it is and tell us everything about it." And the target was the Ark of the Covenant. So he starts working, and then he finds it, and he starts describing it. Like carvings on it. There was what are they called? Nephilim are angels and people, but the other Fem. What do you know? The other angels, the Fem.
Jim will know, or somebody in the chat will know. So the Nephilim and the whatever. What
It's
are the other?
It's a high class of angels. They have like the cherub's head and wing and like 3 sets of wings. Anyway, so they're carved into the outside of the
seraphim. Ark. There you go.
Yeah, that's it, seraphim.
Thank you, Jim.
So there's seraphim on there. There's all this. He's describing all this. He's describing that it's in he thinks the Middle East or Africa. Everyone around is wearing like white, pure white, like chic robes and stuff. But he said that there's beings guarding it that are not human, and they're not seraphim, because he already said the seraphim were, on the carving. Anyway, it goes into like all this detail. No one can open it. No one can mess with it. If they try to pry it or whatever, they're destroyed by the entities. But it'll be opened by someone who's authorized or has the, and when the time comes. So, end of days kind of thing.
So you can watch, there's a whole channel. There's people that a lot of my friends watch called Future Forecasting Group, or they used to be called Crypto Viewing, but they do, and some of them have been trained by the U.S. military and reformer and whatever, but they do remote viewing, and they do sometimes about cryptocurrencies or silver and gold and different things, and about current events and stuff. You would probably really.
So anyway, this thing about the Ark, it's believed, I don't know if you know about Ethiopia, but it's believed to be in Ethiopia. There's all the like old Bibles that have all the books that are in Ethiopia. What's the cup?
Oh, the chalice.
Yeah, what is it? The Holy Grail. Holy Grail is supposed to be. It was tracked to Ethiopia. So all this stuff's supposed to be in Ethiopia. Anyway, the dude had like details of the compound, everything, and all this drawings, everything. It's all in the CIA documentation, which is just crazy weird. I can get the CIA document, the links to go to the stuff. I'll put it in the description.
Awesome.
So now there's this group of people that created an exact duplicate of the Ark of the Covenant, and they're anonymous. They're remaining anonymous, but it's a perfect replica. It was sent to Israel, where a ancient copy of the Torah was put into it, and they said that when this Torah was put into the Ark, it weaponized the Torah, and that it has power unlike anything anyone's ever seen. That it's something like from a movie. So like, for like, why did they make it? Why are they being anonymous? What do they mean by it's weaponized? Blah, blah, blah. And then just a little footnote. Guess where it was stored for 8 months before it went to Israel?
The Vatican, something horrible.
Trump's house.
Which Mar-a-Lago?
It was stored at Mar-a-Lago. Just kind of little footnote. It's just so weird.
And that's all on the CIA website.
Yeah, I'll get the documentation on. I'll put it in the description. But it's just odd, and the fact that nobody they didn't go into what it is, why it was there. It's just
kind of a side mentioned.
But if you step back and you just look at the past 100 years, and all these weird things that are all connected to his family. It's and how his family is very unapologetic about being involved in everything. Don Jr. is like, oh yeah, I picked the vice president, 100%. my dad was going through everything. I was like, you got to pitch JD Vance. You got to do it. Dad, I'm telling you, this is the guy. This is the guy. You just, no one would ever comp to that. And that's like a big criticism that a lot of people have. But who do you trust? The most would be your family.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand. But no, not the Holy Grail. It was the Ark that was stored in Mar-a-Lago for 8 months before it went to Israel. Just very, very weird. Yeah. I would like to go there and try to just go to some of the holy places in Ethiopia. It's crazy. But as far as like historians, if you follow like the path of the Holy Grail where stuff was supposed to be, everything, all roads lead there. It's very odd, very crazy. What do you think?
Well, there's a lot that I think.
About
I recently heard Sylvester Stallone speak, and I don't know if you heard me speak on Friday on Happy Hour. I was talking to Westwood about this because you've shared with me about the whole Columbia thing, and that Columbia is actually the name for the Satan thing, ISIS thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we talked, and you then told me about how George Washington's painted in the dome, and where ISIS is in that picture, and how he's painted like as a god, or a Greek god, even like a mythology kind of thing. And then
they tried to paint Lincoln naked with the hat, and they took it down.
Right. So I thought that was, knowing that, I thought it was odd that the other night when Trump was at something and Sly Stallone said, "You're the
Washington, the new Washington.
You're the new Washington." And he said it's like 200 years later. And he said, "This is the only man who could save America. It's like something out of Greek mythology." And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then I thought of the book and the time traveling and all that. And I just let it all out. And I just said all the things. And I was like, and most likely Barron is Trump time traveling and advising him. And Melania is his protector. And she may be one of those seraphim or whatever badass ninja alien.
Weird.
It is.
I said this to you the other week. You know how he had his growth spurt and all that kind of stuff? His face changed. So he looks exactly like young Trump.
I'm just saying. Like yes, Trump. I know. So that's what I think.
That was
I think that's a possibility because the world is just too crazy right now to think anything else. Yeah. So I don't know.
That is, I thought that was, everyone's like, yeah, he's in Washington. It's, things are changing though. Like a year ago, 2 years ago, definitely 4 years ago, Stallone never would have been able to say that. People in Hollywood are saying shit, and now they're changing. They're like, "Oh, we're going to start." Newspapers are saying, "We're going to hire more conservatives because we want to have more well-rounded, like America is." So years before, didn't matter. It was like half the country.
Yeah, and I'm with Tom. When you think you've got it figured out, you're wrong. Like all it is, I've got more questions than I have answers every day, but I'm open to like, thinking about it. Yeah.
So there's another thing, just talking weird stuff. Someone who I've always loved as a kid, and still everything I learned about her, like it's just this cool. Lucille Ball, who saved Star Trek. I don't know if you know that.
Just what?
She saved Star Trek. She's the one that actually brought it back.
I didn't know that. I have her dishes from her TV show. They are the Franciscan Ivy dishes, and I have the entire set for when I have my new house. And
I'll show you something odd. You talk about Franciscan. I've been thinking a lot about the church lately, and you know how I said that there's good and bad everywhere. You know, there's black hats, there's white hats. Even when you think everything's terrible, there's good people trying to fix things from inside. Or so, like I've said, there's good people in Hollywood, just not as many as bad people. And the church, we're talking about Catholics. I think it's the same way. There's definitely in the lower levels, but I think there's good people, you know, because I was born Catholic, and I was raised for a big part of my life.
I've met people that choose to, you know, practice Catholicism that are good humans.
Yeah,
of course.
But what the difference to me, which most people don't think about, having been Baptist, full gospel, Methodist. My mother was a Methodist reverend for a long time, and Catholic. We left the Catholic Church because Mama wanted to get divorced because my dad was terrible, and the church said no. So she's like, okay, well then we're Methodists now. So, but this Catholicism is massive sacrifice. Like, you can be a preacher and you're rich and you have a nice car and it's all about, you know, looking good. And when you go into the Catholic Church, you give nothing. You literally give your life to the church. You can be married in every other, you know, Christianity, you know, whatever you are, you can have a bunch of wives if you're, you know, some of them. But everything with Catholicism, whether you're a nun or whatever, you give up everything.
I didn't know that.
You give your life to the church. You can't have a girlfriend. You can't have a boyfriend. You can't ever have kids. You can't get, you know,
you can
really own possessions. You can't do that. It's everything. You give it all up. It's a huge, huge sacrifice. So I think that does it. And I think what they've finally kind of learned is it attracts two people. Like being a cop, it's going to attract really, really good people or really, really bad people who want the power, the authority to be able to abuse it, or people who want to serve and protect people and help people. You know, it's the same kind of mindset. You know, I'm going to put my life on the line because I love my community, or I'm going to put my life on the line, but I'm going to screw, you know, hookers for free. It's the same kind of, you know, polar opposites are going to be attracted to that. Anyway, we're talking about Lucy Wall. So Lucy, she went to get some, she got dental work done. And then she went back to the Warner Brothers lot. And as she was getting closer, her dental work started vibrating. And it was like she was feeling it, like hearing it in her head. And it was almost like Morse code. It was like specific vibrations, you know? So she told everybody, like executives and everything, what's going on? I just, you know, call the dentist. And if there's anyone else that would care, but it was her. So she, you know, so they looked into it, and there's a Japanese spy network underneath the Warner Brothers lot sending out information to Japan during the war. They got busted because of her.
And no one else noticed it.
Nobody else noticed it.
Nobody else noticed the frequency.
The fresh dental work, the frequency. And even if they did, even if they told someone,
no one would believe anyone else.
She's like, oh, we'll look into it, you know. And then they're like, hey, can you just have a security guard look? And they found underneath the lot, they had a secret base. I thought that was just lots of weird stuff this week.
That is super bizarre.
I think that's about all the weird stuff. Yeah.
You think a little bit of crypto, you think Bitcoin's going to hit 100 grand by Christmas?
I think it's way surpassed that. I didn't think it was going to hit 100. I always thought it would be in the high 80s, and then that would be it. I didn't think we'd be there yet. But I think the election is a black swan event because it all happened. It literally happened as the votes were going up for him. Bitcoin was going up because I watched it. And it was also weird to hear these pundits talk about, well, Trump just took this and this. And just on a side note, Bitcoin is moving up and up as the the more states he takes, the higher it goes. It's hit an all-time high, which I thought was weird, but it's weird how much political power we have as a community now. We had RFK when he was running in Vivek. Biden was supposed to come to the Bitcoin conference, and then Kamala didn't want to because she's,
Because she said it was for criminals or whatever.
whatever reason. But then Trump's there, and he was the level of, they don't know what's going on in Bitcoin. He was, I've never seen him as shocked, and people have said this, pundits on TV have said this. I never saw him as surprised as when he said, Gary Gensler, I'm going to fire Gary Gensler. And the fact that people knew who it was surprised him. But he said, wow, I've never got a response like that. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to fire. And he said it a second time just because he was surprised, He's
more pissed about Gary writing the checks for Clinton's Russia. That's his bone in his side about Gary Gensler, if I had to guess.
But the fact that
but he knew the audience to say it to.
No, it's the thing he didn't know. He was so shocked. You know that guy too? It was that kind of, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I hate that guy. You know who he is? Because you could have went to anyone else and be like, Gary Gensler.
Because nobody else knows him, but he knows that. So people know him.
But no, he didn't know it. If you watch it when he's up there.
He is
taken aback.
That's why he said it to that audience.
Well, he was told to say it, but he didn't. I don't think he knew. You can see it. Go watch it. He was so surprised. He's like, oh, I didn't. I've never got that response. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to fire Gary Gensler, and everybody erupted. So I think, but it was also just cool to see these, politicians pandering to us as a community, where they're, made fun of us as nerds and geeks and stuff before.
That's true. That's good stuff.
And then, I read that if 5% of wallet holders in the U.S., 5% voted, it would turn every swing state.
Really?
Every 5%, yeah. So I think they know why things were such a landslide. That the crypto community did play a big part in it.
I did see that Elon posted that all the efficiency stuff that they're going to look into, and they've already started looking at some of it. And it's insane, spending that we saw, and like the DOD failed its 10th audit and 10th in a row audit or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he said that they're going to post all of that publicly as they're doing their Department of Efficiency. And I wonder if he'll put it on the Doge blockchain or something like that.
That would be interesting to start using blockchain as a record.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little offensive because everyone has been told, well, it's not everyone. See, that's where you got to step back and you got to think you're a weirdo, because nobody thinks they're a weirdo. Everyone thinks they're normal, and that everyone else might not be quite as whatever as they are, but that you're normal and we're not. So, when he says, oh, we spent, $2 million on the effects of, of monkeys smoking in Bulgaria, or no, what it was like,
there was one about gin on some kind of fish, how gin would affect fish.
One was to pay for drag queen shows in Venezuela or some South American country.
Something crazy.
And it wasn't anything about drag queens or anything. It was just why are we paying for Venezuelans to go to? That was the question.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like that's a shock. If you know anything, if you watch any government, anything, any video on YouTube, you can it's going to show you, why did you do this? Why did you pay for this? Why did we pay for that? Why did you have this study, Mr. Fauci, on these dogs? Why did you, there's so much that I think the average person knows that I honestly, I guess they don't know. They don't take time to listen to the ridiculousness. until I guess it hits you in the face, and they show, when you see it, it's like, oh my God, like the tanks shooting, every shell, it's like $2,250, $2,250, $2,250. You're like, that's our money. That's literally what we're paying for. All right, well, it's been 30-30, so let's finish it up. It was great hanging out with you guys. Oh, today's show was brought to you by BTCC. I got a video, which I'll leave a link below to the to review on it. They are sponsoring the Crypto Rednecks, our show, and I really like the exchange. You can use my link, and you can get like a bunch of money. There's also like a demo account with $100,000 in it that you can use to trade and learn. They have tons of educational stuff too.
Don't do it. What are you? I am you. The point is that site safe, stable, and reliable like BTCC.
BTCC has unrivaled liquidity to buy and sell crypto to maximize your profits, easier compared to other exchanges. BTCC